Okay, we're going to talk about today about navigating sobriety in a very wet world. If you are new to sobriety, you're going to get triggered. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's triggers everywhere. Triggers, triggers, triggers to drink. Now, in this short video, I'll talk through some tools, some strategies, some things you can do, let you know what's happening, why it's happening. But here's the most important thing. It's going to pass. It will not always be like that. But I promise you, I've been sober 24 and a half years. There is no way I could be sober if I kept wanting to have a drink or I thought I was missing out, right? That will all go, but you're going to have to navigate it at the beginning. It's just something you're going to have to go through. It's unique to early sobriety. It will get easier and easier quicker than you imagine, like a week, 30 days, 90 days. It just we're training our brains not to respond to external triggers. Okay, so let me clarify what an external and internal trigger is. So there's two kinds of triggers, internal and external. External could be 5 p.m. on a Friday, right? It could be seeing your best mate, Jill. Like you always have a bottle of wine with Jill. It could be, going past a bar and smell. It could be watching on TV and watching people say cheers. Those are all things happening outside of you. Those are external triggers. Internal triggers are really thoughts and feelings. So you feel sad, you feel stressed, you've had a hard day at work, and you feel hard done by. You feel lonely, and your brain says that alcohol, having a drink, you need to have a drink because of how you feel. So those are internal triggers. So those are the two different things, and you will experience both. I actually think the external triggers are easier and will fade quicker than the internal triggers. The internal triggers will fade, but if you don't get emotionally sober, these feelings that you have used alcohol to quell, your brain will just look for some other fix of some kind: food, sugar, screens, shopping, whatever. So just know that. Program below, I talk about, there's loads and loads of content. There is a whole kind of module on triggers, but there's a whole load of other stuff on emotional sobriety. You're going to need that. Grab it below. Okay, so let's talk about navigating sobriety in a wet world and dealing with triggers. Few things to start off with. Now, we can't avoid alcohol. It is everywhere. But there's a few things we can do to just minimize it, okay? Don't have it in your fridge. If you live with somebody who's still drinking, you can ask them, say like, hey, I'd just be really grateful if you could store this somewhere else, maybe in the garage, or maybe there's another place you can put it. You don't want to be opening the fridge like you do 20 times a day and it's just right there. So get it out of your fridge, get it out of your kitchen, get it out of, so your brain doesn't notice it. I tell my clients, get brand new glasses if you can. Go and treat yourself to some new glasses and make sure you have a replacement. It's really important to not feel deprived. Feeling deprived is a horrible feeling, and you're working against yourself if you feel deprived. So go and get something nice. So you can, if 5 p.m. is when you often have a drink, you can have your nice glass and you can have something nice, and whatever it is, lots of alcohol-free products, so you don't feel deprived. That's really important at the beginning. Now, several things you can do when the trigger hits. I tell people that just know going into it, it will pass. So expect it to happen, because it will. Expect it. Oh, that's what's happening. This will pass, and chunk it down. How can you get through the next 15 minutes? All I have to do is get through the next 15 minutes. Distract yourself. I mean, that's when permission to go on your phone and be on a screen, Instagram, or play a game or something, call a friend. Distract yourself. So we're allowing some time for the intensity of the craving to begin to diminish, right? Because it's not always going to feel like that. Try and mix up your routine just a little bit. Certainly in the first 14 days, try and do things a little bit differently. go for a walk at 5 p.m. instead, call a friend, all of that kind of stuff. Just see where you can mix up your routine and distract yourself. One of the things I tell my clients all the time is observe yourself with curiosity, not judgment. If it's an internal trigger, which is a strong feeling, notice that and get curious. What's really happening here? It's because I had that kind of uncomfortable exchange with my colleague, or it's because I didn't like what my partner said to me. Like, notice what's happening. That the internal trigger is because of feelings that you have, and just pay attention to that, because that's the long-term work. We got to learn how to navigate. We got to show up in a different way. We have to learn how to navigate the world in a better way, because the way we've been navigating it ain't working, is it? We've got to find a better way. So observe yourself with curiosity, not judgment. Reassure yourself that you're going to survive these feelings. That was my biggest thing, is my feelings terrified me, and I didn't think I would survive them. I remember being at university and breaking up with a boyfriend, and I put the phone down, and my next thought was, this is a 2-bottle of wine job. I mean, it's very clear there. I wasn't drinking to relax or have fun. I could see this tsunami of rejection and sadness and loneliness coming towards me because I'd just been dumped, and I didn't want to feel it. I did not want to feel it. So I knew that I'd need a serious amount of alcohol to just numb those feelings. And it was because I was so scared of them. I just couldn't, I just couldn't, I didn't know how to sit with my feelings. I didn't know they were going to pass. I didn't know that they weren't going to not destroy me. I didn't know that I could survive them and be okay, because those emotional experiences actually are where we learn and grow. That's all data. And so I not only did I numb the feelings, I just numbed any ability to grow from that kind of uncomfortable and difficult situation. So alcohol steals all these growth opportunities for us. Remind yourself why you're doing it. One of the things I get my clients to do is the true cost of drinking. Again, it's in the program below. It's a whole lengthy handout where you really look at what alcohol costs you. It's really important to nobody shows up in front of me by accident. If you've watched this video this far, nobody shows up in front of me by accident. You're here, you've been thinking about this for a while, right? Alcohol has a heavy cost for you. And I know that without even knowing you, because you wouldn't be here otherwise. But we're so good at losing sight of that, right? We're so good at the smoke and mirrors and it's just 2 glasses of wine on a Friday. What's the big deal, right? We're so good at rationalizing that, we can just have 2 drinks. So we need to, at the beginning, remind ourselves of the heavy, heavy cost of our drinking, okay? Think the drink through. What happens when you drink, right? I'm going to tell you the best part of my drinking was the anticipation. The anticipation of drinking was the best bit of the whole thing. Then the first drink, and if I have the first one, I'm going to have the second and the third and the fourth, and I'm just going to keep going. And then I'm going to start just not making sense, and I'm just do things like my inhibitions go down. I'd say and do things that are embarrassing or humiliating or against my values. I'm going to have a terrible night's sleep. I am definitely going to throw up, because I used to vomit every time I drank. The next 2 days are just ruined. I won't show up for the things that I've said I want to do, etc., etc. Think the drink through. Be honest with yourself. What happens when you have one, and then what happens, and then what happens, and then what happens? That will help bring down the intensity of the craving that you're experiencing. This is a kind of everybody. I used to work in a rehab years ago, and it's like a standard tool we used to give our clients. And don't put yourself in tempting situations in the early days. Now, important, you can go anywhere and do anything when you're sober. I've been sober in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, and 50s. I've done everything, everything. I've been to nightclubs, I've been to festivals, I've been to parties, been to weddings, traveled, all of it. You can do all of those things, not a problem, not a problem, just not in early sobriety. So don't, you may have to say no to the party or the event or the barbecue or whatever it is. You may just have to do that in early sobriety because the triggers and cravings may be too overwhelming. It is a temporary thing, not a forever thing. Make sure you subscribe. I release videos every week, and let me know what you think in the comments below.